Hello everyone, it is your figure break, and today on your break, I'm reviewing actually a figure from Good Smile Company. It is the 1/7 scale Saber Extra. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your break. Okay, so Saber Extra by Good Smile Company. Very interesting take on figure. Well, not a take on a figure or a take on Saber, but it's actually a completely different Saber, believe it or not. And as for the box of this, very interesting because there's just a lot of gold leafing, like the text is, this border is, it's nicely, shiny. It seems to have taken the test of time as well, because this is a pretty actually old figure. And there's also even, it looks like some gold leafing on the figure, so they obviously put that prevalent onto the box. Other than that, though, they just have the typical, back of the box shows different angles of the figure, big picture on the side. Other than that, nothing too unique. If you're looking for the sticker of authenticity, it's up here in the corner, just as a heads up if you need to know. But other than that, it's just a pretty, square box, just a box. So let's go ahead and open it up. Alright, so here she is, out of the box. Very easy to assemble. All you had to do was just plop her on her base, put her sword in her hand. Super simple. Now, the first thing that I noticed when I was taking it out was the amount of, just clothes wrinkles on this figure. It's here on the clear part, it's here on the red part, and it's even complemented with nice shading. In fact, this part right here looks amazing. It goes so well with the dynamic pose on this figure. There's even nice wrinkles here on the corset and even on the arm. So the other part of her outfit that's really interesting is actually the buttons here on the corset. They're very clean and crisp. There's not many fine details with it, but there's definitely nice consistency. There's nothing that seems to be out of place or anything. And also on this part here of a corset, the white part, in the wrinkles, there's even just a little bit of pink in there to kind of give it some depth and some highlights. Now, obviously, one of the most prevalent parts of Saber Extra's design is the front clear part on her dress, which on here looks beautifully sculpted. There's nice little wrinkles going throughout it, and even the gold trim paint on the edge of it is very clean and concise. I do wish it was a little bit more see-through though, because in the original artwork, you could very clearly make out the outlines of her legs. Here, it has to be at a certain angle where you really can. You have to kind of look for it. Also, the clear plastic is prevalent here on the cuffs. Again, not quite as see-through. You can sort of see through it depending upon how the light hits it, but I kind of wish it was just a little bit more see-through in my opinion. Now, as for the boots of this figure, they look really awesome, actually. They're these just shiny gold metal boots. I absolutely love them. There's very nice sculpting to them. The lines are very clean. They don't look messy at all. And the gold on it shines so nicely against light and how it hits it. It doesn't look very flat or matted. It's definitely a very shiny gold paint that they used on the boots. So there's one part actually on this figure that I kind of have mixed feelings about, and that is the little rope tassels hanging from her shoulders here. I kind of wish they had a little bit more detail to make them look like rope, but then again, on the original artwork, they didn't have that kind of detail to them. So I sort of have mixed feelings about it. So should it have had more fine detail or not? I really don't know. Either way though, I'm glad that they obviously kept consistent with the, original artwork rather than just going off the ball. But if you did that, why didn't you do it on the little clear part here and made it a little bit more transparent? So that's kind of like my mixed feelings here about this part of the figure. Now, moving on to the hair of this figure, it's actually well done. There's some highlights to it. For once, there's some nice dark blondes and even light blondes, of course, to complement them, especially here on the bangs, and it's nicely sculpted too. It looks like it's flowing and moving with the character, and even the bun on the back is nicely sculpted and highlighted. More so than actually some of my other Saber figures. It's really nice. And what I'm most impressed about, the bow is actually highlighted. It's not flat looking or just flowing in the wind. There's movement to it and there's highlights to it for once. I am so happy that they actually did that on this figure. For once, they're going in the right direction. The face cup on the figure though, I kind of have mixed feelings about it, which it does call out to the original artwork that came out, but I kind of wish the eyes were a little bit closer together. Now, despite that, however, there is nice details in the pupils. So there is that, which I'm satisfied with that, because there's a lot of the Saber figures that don't have that much detail to them, but this one actually has some nice details to it. One thing that I'm actually really impressed about on this figure is actually the skin tone here on her back. There's very nice sculpting of the spine and the shoulder blades, and there's even nice tones in the skin of the figure. It's really nicely executed. And if you look a little bit down further, you can even see her butt crack. Like she's a plumber. Apparently Saber Extra is a plumber. I did not know this. You can even see her panties too if you wish. You are welcome. Now, as for the sword on the figure, okay, talk about a very unorthodox sword. This thing is wild. It has curves, it's got straight lines, it's got pinstriping, it's got fading to it. It is all over the place. Really cool sword. Very nice little kind of line work going throughout the entire sword. Again, the gradiency, nice flow to it, and there's just very nice sculpting overall on the entire sword. Now the final thing that I want to talk about is actually the base, which is it's a pretty plain base. There's a few details to it, like the little effect part right here, which is basically just a semi-pink tinged kind of clear plastic, which is kind of reminiscent of her Noble Phantasm that she's doing. Wish there was some red flower petals onto it though, like it is in her Noble Phantasm, but they didn't add that unfortunately. The magic circle, again, is kind of, nice line work to it. Again, nothing too impressive with it. It's also kind of big. I wish it was a little bit smaller, but I think the only reason why it's so big is just due to the dynamic pose of the figure that it had to support. So, as for a rating of this figure, I'm going to be giving an 8.5. Really impressed with the amount of toning that they did with this, with the reds here on the wrinkles, also here in the skin and in the hair. Super happy about that, including the sculpt on it too. I'm loving these wrinkles with the dynamic dress and the flow of this. Really happy about it. Kind of wish though that the translucent part on this was a little bit more see-through in my opinion, like the original artwork is. Same thing with these tassels. For some odd reason, I just kind of wish there was detail to them. I don't like how they're just kind of flat pieces of, just rolls, as it were. Anyway, though, still really happy with this figure. I am glad I have it in my collection now. Okay, everyone, that concludes my review of Good Smile Company's 1/7 scale Saber Extra. I really hope you enjoyed the review, and I really hope you enjoyed your break too. And I will see you in the next video. I'll see you later.